You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. I can do those things because I'm not a hero. I'm whatever Gotham needs me to be.
They'll hunt you.
You'll hunt me. You'll condemn me. Set the dogs on me. Because that's what needs to happen. Because sometimes the truth isn't good enough. Sometimes people deserve more. Sometimes people deserve to have their faith rewarded.
The tyrant dies, and his rule is over. The martyr dies, and his rule begins. That's Soren Kierkegaard, a Nordic philosopher. Why did I start this video with that quote in regards to Kevin Samuels? In some sense, that the haters out there, the detractors out there are making me sad. It kind of pissing me off a little bit that they're saying what they're saying about a man that they didn't know just because their feelings are hurt. But that's to be expected. A great man has great enemies. Sometimes a great man has numerous enemies. And so they're proving Kevin's reach and effectiveness by coming out of the woodwork and saying what they're saying. On the other hand, I would like to thank them. I know it sounds weird. I know it sounds strange, but hear me out. I'd like to thank them because they're doing the work that we can't. They're spreading his name. They're converting Kevin from an image consultant that's on the fringe, maybe even struggling YouTuber, into an icon and a martyr. We have people putting his likeness on their bodies and tattoos. You have people talking about him worldwide. All races, creeds, and colors are now aware of who he was, whether they love him or hate him. So you're turning, as we call him, Saint Kevin, from a broadcaster, YouTuber, an influencer, to a martyr, to a saint, to a real saint. So you're doing in his death something Kevin could have never done in his life. For that, I want to thank you. That's why I'm not really worried about haters and detractors. I'm not really worried about people despising his name. Now, it hurts to hear it because he's a friend of mine. But on the other end, the work that he's done and his mission that he took on is going to spread. It's going to get even bigger. I've always heard in war, you never try to make your enemy a martyr because martyrs become an idea. And what is the hardest thing to kill? Not the person, it's the idea. Malcolm X, the person, was easy to kill. Martin Luther King, all it took was one shot. Person. Malcolm X, the icon in martyrdom, lives on forever. His name is even bigger than it was when he was actually talking, was actually doing work, doing broadcasting. When Martin Luther King died, there's a lot of people that didn't know how they felt about him. But on the week of his death, he had 20 cities going to riots, something that would never have happened if he was alive. Now, instead of dogs being sicked on him being stabbed and clubbed and arrested, you got his enemies building statues in his likeness. The very people that hated him are building statues and monuments in his honor. They always say, never make your enemy a martyr. Never make your enemy an icon. Never make your enemy an idea. So what are his detractors and haters and naysayers doing right now? You think that you're bashing his name. You think you're throwing mud over his grave. You think he's peeing on his grave. You're actually building monuments in his name. You're actually doing the work that he couldn't have done in his life, in his mortal coil on earth. You're actually continuing his work in death that he was doing in life. Now, if nobody said anything, nobody did anything, everybody kept their mouths closed, the work might have and may have died with him. And it would have been up to his friends and his compatriots and his co-workers to push the narrative forward. But you think that you've impeded progress. You think that you stopped something. You think that you finally killed his narrative and his message. Au contraire, what have you done? What have you done? You made him famous. You made him an icon. You've made him a martyr. Now, I've oft heard that if you have enough enemies, they can carry your name and your reputation 10 times farther than his friends can. And I always questioned it, but this is a prime example of it being true. Kevin is now going to be more famous in death than he was in life. And who do I have to thank for it? Not his friends. His friends are doing their work. But I got to thank his enemies. I got to thank his haters. And right on time, I knew you'd come. I knew you'd step into the breach because I always trust human nature. As soon as he died, I knew that you were going to throw mud on his gravestone. I knew that. I anticipated that. That's why I asked the content creators keep working. Keep the message out there. Because I knew you would spread his name. I knew you would spread his message, whether you liked it or not. And people were going to come looking to see who this guy was. See why all this vitriol is about a guy that they never even heard of. That guy that was on YouTube. What's he about? And guess what they're doing? They're coming. And they're coming to find out. And guess what the YouTube algorithm is doing? Piling them all into places where you don't want them to go. So a lot of people spitting on your name, calling your name, disliking you because you're a hater, because you're Kevin Samuels hater. I'm not one of those people. I love you. I love you dearly because you're doing the work that I can't, and you're doing it far more effectively than I ever could. A hater will spread your name 10 times further and faster than your friends can, and you're proving me right. And guess what? This old YouTuber loves to be right. And I told everybody that this would happen. On the day of his death, I told you, get ready, because this is going to happen. The haters are going to come out, and guess what they're going to do? They're going to do the work for you. And so have they done. They've done the work for you. So don't be sad, rejoice. I'm going to end it with this quote from Napoleon Bonaparte. It is the cause, not the death, that makes the martyr. People are looking at his death and thinking that's the end. That's the finish. That's the ending of his message. But it's the cause that he stood for. It's the cause that he fought for. It's the cause that he worked for that makes him who he is, our martyr in the Manosphere. With that, I'm going to bounce off of here. Rest well, my friend. Enjoy your solitude and your solace in heaven, because we got your back down here and your haters are doing the work. You've turned your enemies into footstools, and so it is. Peace, y'all.